Welcome to Comics, the podcast where me and my mom look at our comic book collection. Today we're looking at The Thing #1. This is from his self-titled miniseries from 1983. It's not a very action-packed issue.
Cover is nice.
Yeah, I like the drawing of all the rubble.
Yeah, cover makes it interesting. Oh, he sees a black cat.
So this issue is called Lifelines, and it's about Ben Grimm going back to where he grew up on Yancey Street. It's written by John Byrne, penciled by Ron Wilson, and a lot of this comic is just Ben Grimm's thoughts about his neighborhood. He's walking through it, and a lot of these exposition boxes are really just talking about how the neighborhood has gotten even worse than when he grew up.
Are his parents still alive?
Nope. So, this is the apartment building where he grew up.
Oh, jeez. Well, that makes a sad character even sadder. Poor guy.
So, as he's walking through the different rooms, it talks about the different memories that he has there. They have some good facial drawings of the Thing. Talks about how the wooden steps creak in painful protest under his 400 pounds.
I would think so. But they get a lot of drama out of this drawing here. And his eyes are so small, but they really express a lot. That's a nice drawing.
Yeah, I would expect the Thing to weigh more than that. I was wondering that as he walked through these wooden floors, especially since it's such a decrepit building. I
Yeah.
think he would just fall through the damn floor.
Yeah.
He goes down to the basement where the super of the building used to live. And it talks about how he murdered his wife down there. She strangled his wife.
Jeez.
And the new super didn't want to live down there in the scene of a murder.
Wow, that's dark.
And he hears some sounds in there, and so he gives the door a flick. He just gives it one little
It smashes
nudge. Yeah, of course it
Jeez.
goes flying.
because it's clobbering time.
Well, he's here to talk to this gang of Yancey Street thugs.
Gotcha.
A tap that would fell a raging bull elephant. So,
Wow.
I don't know if the point of him was to talk some sense into this gang. I don't know. Bursting the door down like that is going to help.
It kind of puts them in a defensive position, rightfully so.
So they try to use all their weapons on him, and their weapons are things like bottles and bricks, so it's not going to hurt the Thing. One of them won't even quit fighting. And the Thing is like, I could throw you down into the earth itself.
But I won't.
Well,
That would be terrifying. Wow.
Well, he says that he was gonna throw him into the Earth's core unless they're all willing to listen. So he says, who's the leader of this gang? And it's this red-headed guy with the necklace here. And the big conflict here is that the young people think that Ben Grimm betrayed them or sold out or something, because now he lives in the Baxter Building. And they're all from a very poor background. And so they feel like anything that he has to say to them is pointless because he doesn't know what it's really like to live on the streets
Anymore. Yeah.
So he tells them a big story, and that's what most of the issue is. Even though for most of the first few pages, they're like, I don't want to listen to anything that you have to say. Eventually, I guess they decide to listen.
This is nice. It's a nice sequence.
Yeah, he's staring them down, but the kid's not that tough because he probably knows that the thing is a good guy. He's not actually going to hurt them.
Yeah, well, basically, he's one of them.
Yeah. So we get a flashback here, and it's Ben talking to his big brother Daniel. That's Daniel, and that's Ben, and he gives him some money. He's like, are you going to watch us play stickball? But he's got more important things to do with his gang.
I did not see Ben Grimm having younger sibling energy. He always comes off as firstborn, you know, tough guy. But that shows a lot of heart.
So they share a bed in the small apartment that their parents rent, and their dad can't hold a job for more than 6 months, it says, because of his alcoholism. And his dad's calling his big brother a punk for being in a gang, but his brother's like, at least I bring money home for the family instead of just drinking all the time. And he goes into bed with Ben, fully clothed, and just sits there, and Ben's pretending to be asleep here because he knows that something's up with his big brother. Wouldn't you know, he sneaks out the window here. And Ben, even though his older brother is being careful, Ben follows him without him realizing.
Of course he does.
And they go over to Thompson Avenue, and Thompson Avenue has its own gang that has like a turf war with the Yancey Street gang. So they all line up with like bats and boards and stuff. Like in
Jeez.
West Side Story or something.
That's an awesome drawing.
Yeah, they
That's
called
got
it a
lot.
rumble.
Wow. Yeah, that gives age to Ben, you know. He's probably my parents' age. My mom could have gone to school with Ben Grimm. She probably did.
It says, gang warfare, pure bloody-minded mayhem. No black against white, no rich against poor, just a bunch of punk kids who got so little to lose, who'd been pushed to the wall so much that they just had to lash out. It's interesting, though, because they're all white people, and they're all poor. I'm not really sure what he's trying to say about that, but just the self-destructiveness of poverty, I guess. And he witnesses his big brother get stabbed, and he dies. And he says, that's the first time I ever saw somebody die. He said that they got a letter in the mail one time from the old country or something like that. Yeah, oh, I remember my mother crying when she got the letter from the old country saying her own mother had passed on. But that was just words on paper about someone I'd never met. And this was a lot more real to Ben. He said, I swore then, I cussed aloud for the first time in my life. I cussed Yancey Street, I cussed Thompson Avenue, I cussed against my dad, and I even cussed at God. And so he joins the fight with his little pipe. Looks like Daredevil's baton or something. And the cops break it up and arrest Ben because he couldn't get away in time. And his dad smacks him on the head. His dads are prone to do. And then we fast forward to where he's the leader of the Yancey Street gang, and he's now a young man. And he's about to come home to his apartment, and he sees his Uncle Jake. He says, what are you doing here, mister? This ain't your turf no more, remember? So he's just the same as the punks from the beginning, who, once you leave Yancey Street, you're just like worthless to them, I guess. He has some bad news. It says your parents are dead. So I don't even really know that it explains how his parents died.
Yeah, for both of them to be dead, that's...
And so he freaks out and starts attacking his cousin Jake here, but Jake understands and takes him in. So he moves uptown to Jake's apartment, and Jake is a doctor. He's got purple Hulk pants. And
all the smart guys do, though.
yeah, it was the fashion. And so at first Ben is disrespectful. His pride doesn't want to let him be nice to them, even though they buy him new clothes and they send him to high school. He's like breaking their dishes and stuff for some reason.
Jeez.
And he discovers in high school that education isn't such a bad thing. And he discovers football, and there was still a lot of anger inside of him for the death of his family. But football was the thing that helped him move along in life.
And that hat.
Yeah. It's like an old-timey football coach kind of hat.
Yeah.
And he got a scholarship to go to college, and it has a little panel where he meets Dr. Doom. He says, "Say, pal, isn't that Reed Richards in there? I am not your pal. As for the identity of that naive simpleton, I could not care less. That was my first meeting with a Joker who was later going to be a real pain for me and the rest of the Fantastic Four, Dr. Doom." But he and Reed make quick friends. He says, "Oh, you're the touchdown king?" And Ben says, "You're the whiz kid. This is your 5th college, right?" And he says, "No, it's my 4th. A man can't ever have too much knowledge." He says, "What are you going to do with all that intelligence?" And he says, "I'm going to build a rocket to the stars."
Oh, boy.
He says, "If you build it, I'll fly it." And we fast forward to, he actually does end up becoming a pilot. He was just joking around, but he becomes a test pilot for the Air Force. And it shows him doing some loop-de-loops and
Wow.
little flips and stuff.
You wonder if he could go back. One question to Ben Graham. If you could go back and not fly that rocket, would you?
Yeah, he probably wouldn't. But Reed catches up with him later. He's like, "I'm going to hold you to your promise."
Ooh.
And Ben is the one that's the most reluctant to go. They're going to lose funding for their rocket in California. And so Reed wants to sneak onto the base and do the launch before the funding runs out. And even Sue says, "We must make this flight now, Ben, before the funding is cut off. I never thought you would be a coward."
Oh, Sue.
I know, she pressures them into it, so they sneak onto the base.
Well, that's his Achilles heel, you know?
Yeah, I guess.
Jeez.
He says, "So off we all went. Reed, Sue, her kid brother Johnny, and yours truly." Reed said the new drive he developed was safe. Susie and the kid went along to prove it. Leastways, I can't think of any other reason for them to have been there. That kind of points out like an interesting thing. Like, why did he bring his girlfriend and her brother? It doesn't
Good
really
point.
make any sense. But as we all know, they were bombarded with cosmic rays. And they're in their like purplish red suits. I think they had those in that What If that we read where they all
Yeah.
switch powers.
The gloves, Reed's gloves are... Well, Sue's got great big hands and gloves, too. We was the Fantastic Four.
And the punk says, "You sing a good song, tough guy, but what you say don't change nothing. It don't change nothing at all. You still sold out, superhero. You left Yancey Street. You left the life. You broke the odds. Anybody can make it out there in the soft life. The trick is to stay here, stay right here, and make it and survive." It's like, do you want to go try fighting Dr. Doom if you think it's so easy to live somewhere other than Yancey Street?
Yeah.
He's an idiot. He says, "Kid, you break my heart, and that's no bull. I ain't talking smart right now. Maybe for the first time in my life, the wisecracks is all used up. Looking at you is like looking into an old mirror, an old cracked mirror. Maybe what I've told you ain't meant a hill of beans. Maybe you won't pull your head out of this junk pile long enough to grab a lungful of real air. But if you're really as smart as you think you are, you will. And you'll see there's a lot more to life than Yancey Street. And maybe, just maybe, if you're as tough as you say you are, you'll grab a passing lifeline and haul yourself out of here. So long, punk. And it turns out that this older redheaded guy with the mustache is the young
Yeah,
group.
okay.
It's the father of this young guy. It's not him. It's his
Okay.
dad. So he says, "Well, I tried to talk some sense into your son, but I don't think it worked." And then his dad says, "Well, let's go have a couple cool ones and toast to the old days." And that's pretty much it for this one. It's kind of just like a retelling of the Fantastic Four's origin with more emphasis
On Ben.
on Ben. So I don't really understand why his parents got killed.
Yeah, that was a random move. I mean,
Maybe filling in some kind of reason or something would be.
yeah, I mean, for both of them to
More
be killed
sensical.
is,
Maybe they just got in a car accident or something. I don't know. And one thing that's annoying about reading the thing is they take all the G's off of every word and put an apostrophe where I get they're trying to capture his dialect, but they could probably just leave all the apostrophes off. I think when we
yeah,
see passing, we can figure out that they intentionally are spelling the word passing slightly differently. But sometimes to
Yeah.
me, putting an apostrophe there,
and there,
so long with an apostrophe, looking with an apostrophe, another looking, it just busies up the word bubbles to me. I know it's a nitpicky thing, but it's just kind of irritating.
no, it is, it is.
It's like, we know the proper way to spell things, but we think that you're too stupid to pick up on that, so we're going to like give this little apostrophe just so you know that we know the proper rules of grammar and spelling, but that we're intentionally breaking them. So that's the thing number one. It's got a great cover, a little bit of an underwhelming story, but I think we might have the thing number 2 or 3 in our collection somewhere, so maybe it picks up
Interesting.
there. Personally, I'd much rather see the thing in space or doing some kind of interdimensional adventure. Thing is
Doing-
one of my favorite characters, so I was excited to read this story, but it's kind of a melancholy and introspective one. And it doesn't really, I don't know that it really fleshes out the Thing's character in a satisfying way to me.
He's almost like two-sided. You've got Thing, the introspective, sad guy, and then Clobbering Time, the pissed off thing.
Yeah, sadness and anger are his main modes of communication.
It's like, you know, comparative to the Hulk, who also has regret and anger. It's like
Yeah, those are
that's
the
the two things.
things you're allowed to show as a man in that kind of culture, I guess.
So my book this time, my DC choice was Funeral for a Friend, number 1. I chose it because I never read it when it happened, when it came out. So I was curious. And
This is 10 years after my comic. It's 1993, it looks like.
yeah. The cover is nice though.
Yeah, it's a cool cover. I remember this being a big deal when it came out.
It draws a picture of Superman more intimate than you usually see him, or more, shows that he is not invulnerable. It's kind of sad because you always think Superman. What could help? What could hurt him other than the kryptonite? But it's like, I don't know. You would read the comic books and it's like, well, he's always going to be faster. That heat vision, his X-ray vision. He just seems so unbeatable. That the idea of the death of Superman, I think, is bigger than the actual comic series. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's almost like they ran out of things for him to do, so they had to just kill him eventually.
Kind of, yeah, yeah. So we open up to what I think is interesting. The background is completely white. It's almost like this all happened in a void or some sort, you know?
Yeah,
It's
you
such a
think they could
dramatic thing.
Draw some buildings around them.
And these
Little
bruises on his face are really sad looking, you know? You think that has to be somebody else's blood. It's Superman, he's impenetrable. But it opens up in the aftermath of a battle. So, and then it says, before you turn the page, please read Justice League number 70 on sale now, which tells the story of the
Gotta
battle.
love them trying to sell another comic before you
But-
even break into this one. They're trying to get you to buy something
It's like,
else.
what? Gotta go back to the store.
Yeah.
So, but it's a nice, dramatic
I don't know who any of these characters are.
Lois, so Jimmy.
Yeah, I was pointing. at
Yeah, these guys are not as familiar. The look on Lois's face is drawn very well.
That must be Ice, it
Yep,
says.
nice and
Bloodwind. That must be Bloodwind if I had to guess. I'm
Yeah,
not familiar
there's-
with them.
so we are going to turn the page. This is a great piece of artwork,
Yikes.
and you have the police over here, who reminds me of Ben Grimm immediately when you listen to his dialogue. The kids are right, Maggie. I never even heard of them before all of this. And Jimmy and Lois are over here with Clark. And it saddens me, but I concur with Bloodwind. I've been scanning Superman's mind, and there's nothing there. No brainwave activity. Nothing. And these guys over here, they're, oh man, if Superman's really dead, we'd better pray to God he put this doomsday thing down for keeps. That would be terrifying. This is a nice drawing.
Yeah, they make him pretty scary looking.
It I think that looking at him as the bad guy would make me want to go back and read the comic beforehand, more so than, oh, how did we get here? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd like to see this guy in action. And this guy here is like, I'm going to poke it with my gun. You guys cover me. That just strikes me as hilarious. And then, so, doesn't look like it's breathing, but maybe it never needed to. Stand back. It did. It moved.
I think he says, did it move? So they're pretty scared of him.
I would be
Hopefully so. I guess we
terrified,
missed the
too.
big battle, but he's supposed to be pretty scary.
Yeah, I would be too. And so he comes over, and he doesn't find any brain waves either. And he said before it was filled with rage and anger. Now there's nothing. And they're trying to get Lois away from Superman's body, and Jimmy's, why are you just standing there? We've got to do something. Bring Superman back. And even Jimmy is like, Lois, even Double X says he's dead. Superman is an alien, for crying out loud. We know his body differs from ours. And this is a sad page. But
Yeah, it's
I don't
weird.
know. But that's
They want the death to be memorable, and then they're like, pick up the trading cards now.
yeah,
You
get
can
in
get
on
his
it now.
gravestone. It's kind of morbid.
Yeah. And he also hasn't exhibited any signs of life since he collapsed. as harsh as it sounds, we've got to face facts, Lois. And even Jimmy's like, Kat's right. We can't do anything. And so she's saying maybe Star Labs can come in with equipment, and Lois just, in her grief, yells out, "Damn it, somebody's got to do something. We owe the man more than this." And so our group of heroes here, as she's got a point, we're all standing around planning his funeral. Captain Sawyer, get a few medics over here to help. He starts doing CPR, mouth to mouth, and he's like, his lungs are like steel tanks. He's trying to put everything he can into it, and it's not budging. And so Jimmy pulls Lois, and he goes, "Here comes the guys, Lois." And they come over. And it's like, what can mere humans do to help Superman? So they pull out their paddles, because they're thinking that's all they can do. And we see our officer here taking it hard. You know, he's saying that he's seen the death of officers before, but, you know, this is Superman. So he goes looking through the rubble, and he comes upon this burnt body. And it's like, what the heck is that? That looks bizarre.
Yeah.
And so he says, "What in blazes? Someone burnt to a crisp. Nah, this looks like a massive scar tissue. Am I near him? Near Superman? Oh, Mother of Mercy, it's alive." That's so cold. And whoop. It's like, this one confused me a little bit, because I thought, okay, he's slipping. Did he fall and like crush her into ash?
Oh, jeez.
And then you have this redheaded guy. "I'll take care of her, Officer Turpin."
That's Lex Luthor.
Yes.
That's the way he looked in this era of Superman.
Interesting that he's a redhead.
Yeah.
I never would have thought
Well, the
that.
redheads lead the Yancey Street Gang, and they're the evil
Yeah.
super.
And this guy
villain,
sounds like
too.
he could be from Yancey Street, kind of,
Probably
you know?
used to have red hair.
He's got interesting pants for a cop.
Yeah.
It's,
It's a weird look. Looks like something Ben Grimm would wear, honestly.
it does. So he comes in and he's like, "We'll make it all better, my love. I crawled here to try to help Superman, but it hurt so much." And he carries her off. "Shh, no one can help him now, but we can help you." So you're wondering, who the heck is that? Do you have you read this as a kid, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I remember who that is.
So we go back to our heroes trying to save Superman. This is a nice drawing. This black against white.
It's
with
cool the
all
way
you
they-
see is the...
Use the color to make that pop.
Yeah. I thought they did some outstanding design work in this book. But they're saying they're afraid that they can't do anything else without, if they push the defibrillator, it's going to melt the paddles. And he's like, "Melt the paddles, just do whatever you can." And so Jimmy talks to Lois and says that, we need to, you're a reporter, we need to get back to work. And he's talking to her, and she knows. And also we find out here that Clark is missing. And of course, everybody else is like, Clark is missing. But he is Lois's fiance, so she knows.
Oh, okay.
At this point, she knows. So she's thinking, sob, "Clark, I hadn't thought this through. Dear God, what about his folks?" You don't think about that too. Because out of all the superheroes, you always think about Clark Kent's parents. And they're old. I mean, they were old when they found him, kind of.
Yeah.
But, so, he's, "Jimmy, I'm surprised Mr. Clark isn't here already. The whole world must have watched this mess via satellite," which is terrifying to think that if you're in a world where there is a Superman that exists and heroes that exist, and you're watching on TV this big battle, and then you see the strongest superhero get killed,
Yeah.
I can't even imagine how
That would
people
be
would feel.
scary.
And then you have Kat here grabbing Lois by the shoulders, shaking her. You're a reporter! Darn good one! The story needs to be told by you. Now we've all got our jobs to do. I love the look on Jimmy's face. And Lois relents, and she's like, you're right. And that's the Lois Lane I know. And Jimmy, I guess that was directed at me too. I've got a whole roll of pictures that Perry will want to see.
You can't just get somebody else to report on it. It seems kind of insensitive.
And you'd think that other papers would be there.
Movies and TV and stuff always try to make journalism seem so noble. Like, I've got to get together and I have an important job. It's like, just get someone else to hold the camera or whatever. It's not that
Yeah, I mean, Kat
crucial.
could be the one.
Yeah, why doesn't she do something instead of yelling at her?
Yeah, it's very typical movie-esque,
Yeah.
what you would expect a reporter to do. Jimmy is, I think Lois obviously is,
And why does she need to do her job now? They just said there's satellites depicting everything. Everyone can see exactly what happened.
right.
Stop grieving and do your damn job.
And Lois is a reporter for a paper, not
Yeah.
the active news.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, yeah, you're right. That's I don't know. She looks like she's got something to prove. So then we cut to her reporting on it. It's like, okay, you're doing the job that you just told Lois to go do. So then we cut to back at her apartment where her son is being babysat. And he goes, Dear Lord in heaven, Adam, your mom just said Superman was dead. The kid's like, yeah, big deal. Most of us kids at school thought he was a big weenie anyway. Hey, I love this cartoon. And of course, the boyfriend, the mom's boyfriend, grabs the remote away, and the kid takes off. Sob, you big jerk. And the kid runs in his room, and oh, Delgado, the kid didn't mean Kat's got more than one boyfriend. Oh, he goes, you're not my father, just one of my mother's boyfriends. So makes him a little insecure here. So he goes to the closet and pulls out this storage or suitcase. Turns out he himself is a costumed gangbuster. He was Gangbuster.
I don't remember Gangbuster.
I am not familiar at all with Gangbuster.
Feels like the editors put this in here just to be like, this is why we had to kill Superman, because young people don't respect him today. They think he's corny, so we just killed him.
Oh.
He's like a stand-in for the young kids who only want more and more violent comics, and they don't value old-fashioned ideals like Superman jumping over a building or whatever.
And this is during the same time as the muscle upon muscle upon muscle guys.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
You can
Interesting.
tell by the way that Doomsday is drawn and Superman is drawn too. Or even just this guy. Everybody's like
He's a big ape.
aggressive, muscular looking.
Yeah.
Very Eddie Brock looking person.
And he's saying here that he's thinking that Kat begged him to retire to put Gangbuster to rest. But and he listens to the news here. So I guess that Superman wasn't so super after all. This has been a WMET news break. And so he's, why you happy talking son of a, and he destroys the TV.
Damn.
And that's a good indication too of how quick they just found out that he died and how quick people are turning on him. Like, I see what you mean. This is kind of,
Should have appreciated him while
well,
you
yeah,
had him.
yeah.
Oh, and here's Clark's parents, right?
This is a nice panel.
What if they're right? We keep on praying to the good Lord for our boy, Ma. Well, maybe we find out who this purple person is.
We are going to find out who this purple bear person is. Lex is saying, change, you can change. put some effort into it. And he goes, it'll hurt. And he says, the creature says, it will be painful, difficult, Lex. But for you, I would move mountains. And she puts all her effort into it. And who do we have here? Supergirl.
Is it the real Supergirl? Because he talks about her shape-changing power.
Exactly.
weird.
So she comes back as Supergirl. But he says, that accounts for the bruises and such, eh? And she says, I'll wear them as tribute to the sacrifice Superman made in battle, Lex.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's oddly, for us not really knowing who this creature is, that is an odd way for her to come into existence. It's like, who is this? What is going on? And she's the last person who has respect. This is a nice drawing too. They put these anti-gravity discs under him to lift him.
Oh, wow.
And so we have all these people showing up. And we have our cop here. Spill your guts, Pally. You a spook? CIA? Not quite. Let's just say we're on the same side, you and me. And so we have people who are just kind of trying to say that they get to have control over the scene. And then we're back at Superman. Like anybody who's ever read a comic book or watched a movie, why would you want to take possession of a dead creature that you don't know anything about? It's going to come back alive.
Yeah,
It always
of course.
does. And everybody in that room is going to be destroyed. So we're back here with Kent and Miss Sawyer, a Lady Bozo. I oughta, Dan, let me give the Guardian those power platforms and leave everything where it is. You've just bought yourself a lot of trouble, lady. This intent guy. We're wasting time. And I hesitate to call a cigar-smoking chick a lady. And give me the badge number. That tears it. So he comes in and he yells, Turpin. No, he's head of Cadmus. Like I care. Woof.
Knocks his wind out.
Forget the badge number. Just remember Dan Turpin. Turpin. The boys will call me terrible, though I don't know why. These guys are too much. Too much. And so we see that they break up the little fight, and Dan's bought you some time. How much will depend on how out of shape your boss is. Can you round up the other gliders and charge up the shock? What is that word?
Cannons.
Cannons, sorry. I'm the only one still functional, sir. Well, charge it up. I need to figure out the next step. And they bring in a professor with a machine, with a belt that is going to protect this guy from the massive amount of electricity that's going to generate. It's an energy
Another guy
collecting
with an
unit.
old style hat.
It's very Popeye style hat.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could still go into a store and order the Popeye. And so he has his belt. They have the paddles. He says, I'm ready, sir. And the Bebo wears one of your force field devices. Yes, it will protect him from electrocution. Guardian, I'm ready when you are. And let's bring the man back, folks. Force field up. Bibowski? Gotcha, Harper. I'm ready for the fight round. Are you certain you know?
First round, I
The
think.
first round, yeah, sorry. Are you certain you know what you're getting into, Bebo?
Bebo, huh?
I like
Bebo.
the way that the professor, the smart guy, looks like just a bum off the street in
Yeah.
this drawing. But
Bebo took his hat off.
Bebo took his hat out. And so they charge it up. He puts the paddles. Now, Professor, do it. Do it now. You son of a... Woof.
Dang, that's a cool panel.
You've got Kat here and her photographer. It's like, dang. The amount of energy must have been massive. And the professor says, my eyes must be playing tricks on me. I thought he twitched. One of you tend to Bebo while I ready the paddles for another jolt. He comes in. Superman's condition is unchanged.
Oh, no.
There's no brain activity. These people, I can go another round. Let me rest up a bit. It's like, can
Poor
you?
guy.
Can
I
you?
think they broke the machine anyway.
Yeah, it looks like it.
So they're really just using this whole episode just to make sure that we all know he's really dead. And they're
He's
not gonna
really
bring him
dead.
back. At least for a few issues, he'll be dead.
They hit him with the paddles one more time. And look what it does to all the, everything that was around him, all the debris and everything. It's cleared out. All except for this one ambulance. It doesn't look too bad.
Well,
But,
it shows how hopeless it is when they zoom out like that.
And then this guy, it ain't working. It's just so awful. And I don't know. I
And
mean,
on that sad note, or do we get one more splash page or something? Seems like it's... Oh, here we go.
no, but we do get a pretty cool ad for Bane, for
Yeah,
Batman.
and they're killing off Superman. Now they're gonna...
Finally
They even
gonna
say the man who will finally
break the Batman.
Vengeance of Bane.
That's a really nice piece of art, though.
Yeah, that is a cool ad. They're killing off everybody, Batman and Superman.
When are they going after Jimmy?
Yeah.
So then we're back at the Daily Planet, and they're watching what's going on, and Jimmy says, even Cat Grant's doing it. It makes me want to puke. We lost a friend, Mr. White, a good friend. That we did, Jimmy. We owe it to him to honor his memory, son. And Jimmy is being torn. He knows, he's a journalist, he knows the story needs to be told. But he also is
Seems
seeing.
disrespectful.
Yeah, yeah.
He wants to tear up the negatives because he feels bad about taking pictures of his best friend when he was dying.
And I wondered about that, about the negatives. It's like, could they use that in the next story? I don't know. Just to mention the negatives was a little odd to me. But he remembers them, or he reminds him. Think of what Lois is going through. It's a nice drawing of his face. And we cut back to Lois, and she's finishing up her story. And she's just exhausted and in grief. And I like how they draw everybody. And Ronald here is like, I'll take Jimmy's photo down to compositing, Mr. White. And Jimmy says, Lois, you want me to walk you home? She's like, I'd like that. And they even mention Clark. But Lois says his luck ran out when Superman died.
Yeah, it's weird they wanted to kill him off. I don't know who the target audience is for this, because if you're a kid,
How did you
kind
feel
of like a
when you...
downer comic to read when you're young.
Yeah, do you remember it coming out when you were a kid?
Yeah, I remember it being really hyped up as like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. And, yeah, I was excited to read it, but a lot of it is, I remember that there's another issue where they're all wearing Superman armbands and they're
yeah.
at his funeral. And then they're like trying to figure out if they really could revive him somehow. And I don't know, it's kind of a weird story to tell to kids, I think. I think the best Superman is geared towards younger audiences because it's such an idealistic character.
Absolutely.
I guess they're trying to go the opposite direction here to see if it'll work, but I don't
think
really
that it
think
did. I don't think it did. Because even the shows with him in it after are more lighter.
Yeah, it's weird. This is
lighter.
probably around the time that TV show with Dean Cain was around Lois and Clark, New Adventures of Lois and Clark, or something like that. I don't really remember the show. I didn't really watch it, but
Yeah, for some reason we didn't watch it.
yeah, it's kind of a downer one. I guess both of these issues today are
Low
about
energy.
the sadness of their characters, or their death, sadness of other people for the character.
It's
Both very collectible issues, though.
I did not even look to see what the value of that could be.
Of the Superman?
Yeah.
Do you want to guess?
$5 maybe.
Let's take
In
a look. And it
mint?
doesn't look like ours is mint.
No, ours isn't mint. It's probably just fine. I don't know.
$4.98. Adventures of Superman. Well, immediately eBay is trying to get me to buy a $150 copy of it, a $60 copy of it, or a $2 copy of it, all from eBay.
Jeez.
So
it's typical. It's
I'd probably go with the buy it now for $2 because it looks like it's in slightly better condition than ours. At least it doesn't have these little staple crinkle things
Yeah.
on the spine, but it looks pretty similar. I don't know that this person's gonna get $150 or best offer. Maybe I'll try 4. See if they'll accept it.
I
They're
don't.
selling Solar Man of Adam as well. It's a
Okay.
lot. So that is a Valiant comic. So, maybe they're piggybacking on that. As for the $60 one, it says variant, rare, scarce, hard to find. It looks
Okay.
like the same. The
It looks
difference
like
I
the-
see is they've got a DC logo instead of World Without
Okay.
Superman. So I wonder, was this the direct mail version? Because I would bet that we got ours at Taurus Comics.
Yep.
I think I remember them being on the newsstands.
Yeah.
But
I
we'll
would
have to
have-
check out more of the Funeral for a Friend series just to see how it develops. I do like the 4 Supermen that they come up with. They have Steel and the Man of Tomorrow, who's just Superman in black with sunglasses. And then they have
Superboy.
Cyborg Superman and Superboy. And those are the 4, Dawn of the 4 Supermen or whatever story that succeeds this one.
Can you imagine?
They all turn out to be imposters.
Can you imagine Clark Kent's parents? The one they get is Superboy, and they're like, "Oh my
Have to
gosh,
raise him
we
again."
raised him already."
Yeah. Well, if you like this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.